The following interview is being conducted as part of the Price of Freedom project by the Madison County Military Heritage Commission to inform our community of the sacrifices made by those in the military on battlefields around the world. We wish to thank the Huntsville School System and the ETV Broadcast Center for their help in presenting this Military Heritage program. Hello everyone, I'm Tom Kennemer. Welcome to our program. Today we'll be talking with U.S. Army veteran William Bill Hougland. Bill is the recipient of the Distinguished Flying Cross for heroism while serving as an Army aviator in the Republic of Vietnam. Bill served 2 tours in Vietnam. He was inducted into the Madison County Military Heritage Hall of Heroes in 2016. Bill, it's a pleasure to see you, sir. Thank you for being with us today. Appreciate your time. First of all, let's talk a little about where are you originally from?
I was born in Wenatchee, Washington. Grew up north on up the Columbia River to a little town called Antioch. 7 miles up the Antioch River is where I lived most of my life. It was a great place. Summertime, you had swimming, rafting on the river, fishing, water skiing.
Beautiful country up there, yeah.
And wintertime, snow skiing. So it was a great place to.
Your family into logging and that sort of thing?
My father drove a logging truck for some friends of ours. My mother was a stay-at-home mom for most of the time I was home, beating up on me and baby and my sister.
What now? Do you have brothers, sisters,
and one sister that's
one sister? Okay.
5 years younger than I am.
I see.
We're good friends now.
Good, good.
Weren't so much so growing up.
Worked it out through the years,
yeah.
Right? Yeah. And was your dad in the military?
No, he worked for the PX system at Fort Lewis during World War II. He was unfit for military service because of a nervous disorder. And I had an uncle that was a B-17 pilot in Europe. I'm not sure about the other 2 uncles, what they were involved with. But.
Well, when you were in school, did you envision going into the military?
I would have loved to have gone to West Point, but I coasted through high school, so the grades weren't great, and I was not an outstanding athlete, so no, not really. It was more a case of opportunity where I was. If you didn't go to college, and things being the way they were at the time, I was not offered the opportunity to go to a 4-year school. I attended a Valley College 2-year school for, it was just like high school, and I really wasn't wild about that. I hated working in the apple orchards, which there are a lot of them where I'm from. And you had to be at least 18 years old to work in any other kind of industry. In the lumber mill, my last year in high school, I worked there for several months before I graduated. Worked there through the summer. Went to the junior college, didn't like it, decided that I wanted to go somewhere else, and the Army was an opportunity to do that.
Do you have some friends or buddies that
from high school, I had one that was already in the Army that I knew. Otherwise, no, they were homeboys, and I think most of them are still homeboys.
All right, now, so you enlisted. What was that like for you? Where did you go to boot camp and so forth?
Well, standard joke is my mother left me on the Army's doorstep on Halloween as a trick-or-treat treat. Took a bus from Wenatchee on the 31st of October, was inducted into the Army on the 1st of November, 1962. At the center in Spokane. They flew us to Seattle and then down to Monterey and picked us up and took us out to Fort Ord to the reception center out there. And I did my basic training there. Came home at Christmas time for a 2-week leave, went back, finished up basic training, was shipped off to El Paso to Air Defense Artillery, Nike Herc Launcher Crewman School. Graduated from that and ended up staying there as an instructor for launcher crewmen, coming through the advanced individual training.
So you were kind of adapting to the Army way of life.
Yeah, I kind of got used to it.
How was boot camp? I mean, was it, you're kind of a country
You know
boy.
how long ago that was?
Memory face, I can relate to that.
A long time ago.
Yeah. And where did you, was that Fort Ord? Is that,
yeah, Fort Ord.
Yeah.
And,
but it's interesting, I'm sure, wasn't it?
I guess it was. You try to erase some of the bad memories. I think I've succeeded.
Yeah. Now, you stayed in the Army 20 years. When did you become an officer, and what led you to make that decision?
Okay, to start at the beginning, when I was in El Paso at Fort Bliss, I saw the information on the Warrant Officer Flight School, WARWAC, Warrant Officer Rotary Wing Aviator course. And that looked really interesting, and so I put in an application and received information back that I was accepted. My acceptance was put on file awaiting a class opening. That was in 1963.
Now
They shipped me off to Germany shortly thereafter to a Nike Herc launcher site. And I spent about a year there, and I said, it's in for me. And I hadn't heard anything about the aviation school. So I applied for OCS, Officer Candidate School. I received information back that I was accepted for OCS, but what do you want to do? Do you want to go to flight school, or do you want to go to OCS? And being young and not fully educated on the ways of the Army, I chose to go to flight school because I learned how to fly. Not knowing that if I'd have gone to OCS and graduated, I could have turned right around and gone to flight school as a lieutenant on TDY. But anyway, in 1965, I came back from Germany on leave. I reported in at Fort Walters, Texas, and spent 5 months there going through pre-flight, basic flight, and advanced flight training, and then down to Fort Rucker, Alabama for the final 4 months of flight school. Graduated, shipped off to Vietnam, and that's flying OH-23s. Yeah, I left my pictures. I was going to bring some along, but it's a bubble aircraft similar to the OH-23 or OH-13 that they use on MASH.
Right, I remember.
And that is not the average aviator's ideal job. He'd rather be flying a Cadillac, which at that time was a Huey. But they sent me to the 25th Infantry Division Artillery Aviation Section. Another first, I was the first warrant officer that they got. Everybody else there was a commissioned artillery officer. They weren't sure what it was going to do to me or do with me, but they kept me.
And where was that at, Bill?
That was at Cucci.
Okay.
Right on top of the tunnels.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, that's where we were. That was our permanent base camp.
Yeah.
We got there, and they, like I say, they weren't sure what they were going to do with the warrant officer. But I went out with the IP, and he discovered that I could fly, and I knew what I was doing. And so he just continued on and gave me a local area orientation and said, now you're for duty. And they put him on the board, and we did almost everything you can think of. Hauled Red Cross girls, hauled chaplains out to the fire bases, hauled battalion commanders out to the fire bases and their sergeant major. Did a lot of that.
Now, was this with the Huey, or was this the...
No, this was the OH-23.
The bubble.
Yeah, that was it. Passenger on each side of you if you were taking three. And like I say, we did almost everything you can think of, hauling forward observers for artillery adjustment. Did a lot of flying with the DeVarty commander. At that time was a Colonel Dave Ott, later became 3-star General, 7th Corps Commander. And his executive officer was John Vesey, who later became chairman of the Joint Chiefs of the Army. He was a lieutenant colonel at that time. Super guy.
You flew him around some.
Yeah, I flew him quite a bit. He would come out, he'd call, go over and pick him up. He'd come out and he'd say, let's go find a war. And he says, if we can't find one, we'll start one. Well,
so Lieutenant Colonel didn't write a Huey at that time?
We didn't have any Hueys in the aviation section at all.
Now, this was the early part, like in 65,
this was 1966.
Around the build-up at time,
It was 1966 into August of 66 to August of 67 when I flew with that. About little over 800 hours flight time in that year.
Yeah. Now that was all in your first tour, right?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And you were stationed generally in that same area?
All over 3 Corps.
I see, yeah.
Went from there down to Saigon, up to the Cambodian border. Flew the Cambodian border a bunch of different times looking for changes, that kind of thing.
Did you, now, as I recall, on MASH, have the attachment there for carry wounded soldiers and that sort of thing on the side. Did you do any of that? Did you?
No.
Air ambulance
No.
service? Okay.
No, we didn't have any litter attachments on our aircraft. They had dust off going then, so that was their job.
Yeah. All right, so you said the first tour there in Vietnam. Where did you go from there, Bill?
I went back to Fort Walters, Texas. Was a flight instructor teaching primary 1. That's the first 40 hours of an individual's flight training. That's probably the most exciting life you can live.
Did you enjoy being a teacher?
Yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
Did a bunch of it, but flying with a new student and trying to teach him to use a cyclic, a collective, a throttle, and 2 pedals simultaneously.
And chew gum at the same time, that sort of thing. So
well, listen to the radio.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's some of the best rides you could ever get.
Yeah. Yeah.
Zoom, zoom.
Yeah. How long did you stay there?
I spent about 14 months there, and I decided I was safer in Vietnam. And so I talked to the Warrant Officer Branch, and they sent me to Cobra IP school. So I went down to Hunter Army Airfield and became a Department of the Army instructor in the Cobra. Was assigned to a cav troop in Vietnam going back. When I got to Cam Bay, I was diverted to the AH-1 net team. The new equipment training team was in Benoit, and had people there that were getting to rotate, been there a year with the Cobra, getting ready to rotate out. And I went down there and became an instructor at the training team and spent my whole tour.
What was it like flying a Cobra?
Sweet.
A little different in the bubble helicopter, I call it.
It was. I enjoyed it. It flew nice. It was a stable weapons platform. You didn't have to go down and look the guy eyeball to eyeball to shoot him.
Now that's the plane. People that may not be knowledgeable of exactly, it's the Cobra has the person is behind you. Is that the
you have
weapons?
2 pilots.
I see.
The one in the front seat is the co-pilot gunner.
I see.
He has a sight up there that he operates the turret weapons. He configure 40 millimeter grenade launcher and a minigun, or 2 miniguns, or 2 40 millimeters in the turret, and he handles those. The guy in the back seat is the aircraft commander, pilot. He takes care of the rocket business. He can fire the turret stowed, and depending again on configuration, you can have a handful of configurations. 2 19-round pods, 1 on each wing for the 2.75 rockets. Inboard, you can have minigun pods firing either 2,000 or 4,000 rounds a minute. Or you can have 4 19-round pods, 2 on each wing. They even have a configuration, we didn't have any of them, of a 20 millimeter under 1 wing.
What's the difference, Bill, in flying the Cobra and the Huey?
Speed,
Yeah.
for the most part, and we encountered a few people that couldn't handle. They couldn't get past an 80 knot mind. They got behind the aircraft and they couldn't do it. But you
Couldn't adapt to it.
Yeah, it's your max speed's 190 knots in dive. Empty, you can cruise at 150 knots. And you get it loaded down, it slows you down a little bit.
Now, your entire second tour, is that what you flew, the Cobra?
Yeah.
Yeah.
as an
Just
instructor
in one
pilot the whole
particular
time.
area, or all around?
We went up to Chulai to give check rides one time.
Uh-huh.
The rest of the time we flew either out of Benoit or out of Vung Tau. We lived down there, in-country R&R Center for 9 months. It was terrible.
Bill, talk about being away from home while you're in the military. How did it affect your family? And were you married at the time?
No, I was not married at that time. Got married after I'd completed my second tour.
Yeah.
So I didn't really have any separation problems.
Yeah. And when you come back home, it was always good to be home, but were you ready to get back in action, that sort of thing?
Yeah, really. I came back from both tours, had a 30-day leave at home, and then went off to whatever I was doing next.
Did you encounter any protest? The protests were going on during the Vietnam, but that was kind of the early part. You were talking about 66, 67 in that time frame, or 68, is that right?
Well, I came back from the second one December 69.
69, okay, yeah.
No, I did not.
Did not encounter
I didn't
anything.
run into anything coming into Travis Air Force Base coming back either time. Just hopped on another plane out of San Francisco and went to Seattle. Didn't run into anything there, nothing at home. Both assignments back from my tours were at Fort Walters, which was a big military town, and didn't run into anything there. So I really didn't have any experience with it except what you see on TV.
I see. Bill, when you got some free time, however little that was, when you're in your 2 tours in Vietnam, what did you do? What kind of relaxation was available at your base?
At Cu Chi, not much. Once in a while, we could spring an aircraft loose and we'd take it down and go to Saigon, go downtown. It happened maybe once or twice. There was I don't even remember where it was. There was a PX at one of the bases close to Cu Chi that was real good, and we'd go down there once in a while.
Buy magazines and, cigarettes or whatever.
Cameras,
that
stereo
sort of thing.
systems,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
in Vung Tau, we were in the R&R Center.
Yeah.
That's why I say it was a hard life.
Yeah. I'm sure you've formed lasting friendships in service. Do you still stay in contact with a lot of your friends, Bill?
No, not really. Some of them aren't around anymore. One of my guys that really contributed to my career died here, I think it was last year. Major Don Fine. I came back from my second tour. I was first lieutenant. I'd been given a direct commission to first lieutenant while I was in Vietnam. And he took me aside one day and he said, are you planning on staying in? And I says, yeah, I'm thinking that. And he said, you don't have a degree, do you? And I said, no. And he said, you better start working on it. That was the best advice I ever got, because I worked and ended up a year short of a degree and got the Army to send me to college for a year to finish my degree. I say a lot, some of the guys that I knew that were in my situation, no degree, were asked to leave the Army on the reduction in force.
Right, I see.
And I made it through several of those without a problem.
Yeah. I want you to talk about the action that you received, your Distinguished Flying Cross. Talk about that mission that you received this award for.
Okay.
What time frame? And it's on the second tour, right?
Yeah. No, it was first tour.
First tour, I'm sorry.
First tour, in an OH-23. Well, to begin with, I was out there when we shot the LZ prep, artillery shot the LZ prep. I had an aerial observer with me, and we took care of that, bombarding the LZ with artillery.
This was with the Cobra?
No.
No, this is, I'm going back to the first tour. Right? Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
And then in 23, two of us out there, and we shot the prep for the thing. And then we were there for the insertion of the troops. Prep didn't work all that well because they set off IEDs and got 3 of the aircraft that were landing. One of them was damaged and made it back to a place called Suida and then sat there on the ground and burnt completely up, but they were lucky. They did get a successful insertion of everybody and take control of the LZ after all that excitement. That was on the 19th of March, 1967, during Operation Junction City. On the 21st of March in the morning, about 6:30, an approximate regiment of Main Force Viet Cong jumped up and attacked the infantry and fire base, artillery fire base at LZ Gold. That's one name for it. The Vietnamese name was Sui Tre. And about 6:35, I got a call in operations to get my tail to the pad and pick up the DeVordy commander. And off we went, low ceiling and all, about a 30 to 40 minute flight to a anthill on the ground and a beehive in the air. There was just not enough room to get vertical separation. Had artillery coming in from several different directions. Had airstrikes coming in, supporting the folks on the ground. A Air Force forward air controller had been shot down just shortly before we got there. Both the people in that aircraft were killed. I don't know what the boss was doing, because he had his own radio, PRC-25 radio, because our old radios wouldn't net with all the ground radios in the aircraft. These are old aircraft. And I assumed he was coordinating artillery for the folks on the ground. I mentioned to him that we needed to get out of there. They were going to shoot our tail off. And he said, no, we need to stay. So we stayed.
Yeah.
You do your job.
He's the boss.
He was the boss.
Right.
He said, we're going to stay. I said, all right, no, your fault. But we flew around there, him doing his thing and me avoiding aircraft and artillery coming in, and I was listening on FM to the artillery advisory where it was coming from and what the, you know. But we finally were able to get in there. He wanted to get on the ground with Colonel Vesey, and I got him in there somehow.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it.
Yeah. But exciting. Quite a predicament.
You know,
that day.
you really don't. I guess you don't think about that.
I guess it happened
at the
so
time,
quick, right, Bill?
Well, we were flying around that place probably for a good hour. I don't remember whether I had to go and refuel one time before I got him in there or not, but you're so busy that you don't have time. All you're thinking about is doing your job, not getting run over, and not running over somebody else, and keeping the boss where he can see what he wants to see.
A lot of activity going on.
Oh, yeah.
Many of the veterans we talked with, Bill, mentioned a family member, a tough sergeant, a commanding officer who helped prepare them for the actions they took in combat. Was there someone like that for you?
Well, my father was pretty tough, but otherwise, no.
Upbringing, yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't easy on us.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you know, just the people that trained you.
Yeah. And the training kicks in.
A lot of them.
Yeah, yeah. At one time, you were a member of the flight command that flew the future chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Tell us about that experience.
Oh, that's what I was talking about. Lieutenant Colonel Vesey was.
Yeah.
He's the guy that ended up being the chairman of the Joint Chiefs.
Yeah.
That wanted to go. You know.
Yeah.
We can't find a fight. We'll start one.
Yeah.
He was a terrific individual.
Yeah. That's right. He did go and become. And what year did he become?
Oh, good grief.
But anyway,
I was in Germany in 1979 at USER headquarters as a staff officer for the Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel. And he came through at that time, he was a one-star. When he came through there, I had a whole passel of one-stars that came to USER headquarters touring U.S. Army Europe.
Yeah.
And I was the escort officer.
Yeah.
Thought I had a bunch of second lieutenants.
Bill, how would you describe to those watching this interview, especially our young people, what it's like to serve in a war zone? The thoughts you have of possibly being killed or wounded during battle, what's going through your mind?
Well, I never really thought about it. I guess, and it's never going to happen to you. It'll happen to somebody else, maybe. But you're young, you're invincible. I never thought about that. We go out, single pilot, an OH-23 over Apache country. You don't think about what happens if that engine decides it's going to quit and you hit the ground. If you do, you'll never get off the ground again. It just...
Yeah. I always like to ask our veterans, Bill, that we talk with, is it okay to be afraid or scared during combat? Is that common?
Well, everybody that knows says if you're not, you're nuts. I don't know. I don't feel like I was ever really afraid going in. Maybe I'm nuts.
Yeah. Different people look at it different ways, I guess. Something. Yeah. Now, how do you feel when people call you a hero for what you did? When they hear about what you did in combat, well, how does that make you feel?
I feel like I was doing my job. And, you know, that was, my wife didn't know about it. She was surprised when she found out about it. My sister didn't know. Daughter didn't know. And never really talked about it.
After Vietnam, where were you stationed? Tell us a little about your career after Vietnam, when you spent, 20 years in, I believe. So.
Well, like I said, I came back from the second tour. I was flight evaluation, flight commander, and pilot, check pilot. Went through the infantry officer advanced course at Fort Benning. Went to college for a year, right outside the gate at Fort Lewis.
That was good advice to get your degree.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
And the Army, in its infinite wisdom, said, "You're going to Fort Dix, New Jersey when you graduate." And I said, "Bye-bye, I'd like to stay here." And they said, "No, you're going to Fort Dix because you need to get some command time." I'll touch on this later. So they sent me to Fort Dix, and I ended up taking over a basic training company for 15 months. Wouldn't want to do that again, but it was interesting.
Part of the Army experience, right?
Yes. Spent the rest of my time, 3 years there, in the Inspector General's office. Ended up as a detailed to Inspector General, which was a kind of a feather because most captains weren't detailed as Inspector Generals. Did inspections of units, investigations, that kind of thing. From there I went to Germany and was the XO of an attack helicopter company at Illesheim for a little over a year. And from there, knowing I was on the promotion list, I went looking for a job, and I ended up going to USER headquarters as a staff officer in the Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel's office. Did one reforger as his representative on reforger exercise. Negotiated with the Army about coming back to the States at the end of my tour. I wanted to go back up Pacific Northwest, and I looked at the distribution book, and it said they had 12 open slots at Fort Lewis that I could qualify for as a major. And the man says, "No, those are unsupported. And on top of that, you're going to work in your alternate specialty." I said, but I've never worked in that. He said, well, you're going to work in it now because Defense Officer Personnel Management is going to work. So I came to Redstone as the lesser of many evils that I was offered. I had dream spots like Yuma, Arizona,
Yeah.
Huachuca, White Sands,
Yeah.
Otia, Aberdeen, or Huntsville. I picked Huntsville.
And you're still here.
I'm still here.
Now, you and your wife, Nancy, have been married, correct me if I'm wrong, 48 years?
47 years.
47 years, sorry.
Be 48 this year.
You're right. And you have one daughter, Stacy. Tell us about life after the military and what you did after you got out.
Well, when I first got out, I worked for Sperry Systems Management in their marketing department. And then I took over the Lytton Data Systems regional office here after about, it's about 14 or 15 months. I took over that office as a one-person office for the Southeast region, company in California. And I worked there until 1992 when they decided they were going to consolidate, downsize, whatever. And I was last man out and got laid off. My wife and I had just bought Heart's Delight Craft Shop on the Parkway, and so I just kind of transitioned over. I did some consulting work, and I helped her in the store, and finally did full-time in the store with her.
You swept the floors and everything. I mean,
I did it all. Cut out ornaments,
Right,
sold things, told lies.
Yeah.
When we closed the shop in 2003, because the craft business had just kind of gone away, she continued on to teach drawing and watercolor, and I said, that's it, I quit. And kind of went into the retired mode.
I see. But you're still involved in something. I know you and Nancy like to travel, but you're still involved with some things around Huntsville, right?
Pretty much worrying about where we're traveling to next.
That's high on the list, right? Yeah. Bill, in 2016, you were inducted into the Madison County Hall of Heroes. Talk about that experience and what that meant to you.
It was a fantastic experience. It may have meant a lot more to my wife and my daughter and my sister than it did to me, because like I say, I don't feel that what I did and what I got the award for was doing anything more than doing my job. But it was a great evening at the induction.
The recognition, right,
Yeah.
for what you did do. Yeah. What would you like for young people, especially our students, to learn and hopefully remember from your military experience? What would you say to them?
Pay attention to those who teach you, because they're going to tell you the right stuff to survive. I don't know whether they can get anything else out of it or not.
That's important. That's important. Yeah.
Very.
Yeah. Bill, I want to thank you for participating in our oral history interview series and allowing us to preserve your military experience for people of this community. And thank you, sir, for your service to our country.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it, and thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
Now, if you'd like more information regarding this interview or any interview in our Military Heritage Series, please visit the Madison County Military Heritage Commission website at mcmhc.org. I'm Tom Kennemer. Thank you for being with us.